Welcome to Backstage Pass, Nicolet College, where every role has a story and we're here to tell it. My name is Jacob Wojciech. Let's not waste any time and head backstage. Welcome to Backstage Pass, Nicolet College. Today, you're joining us here in one of the dressing rooms, and our guest is Kris Peeters. Kris, can you tell us about yourself and your role here at the college?
Sure. I am the Senior Executive Assistant to President Farrell and our Board of Trustees. I officially started in that role, it would have been July of 2024. And I was kind of an interim to that position for a little over a year prior to that.
Okay, what does that role entail?
Well, let's see. I am the gatekeeper for all things President Farrell. So if you want an appointment with her, you have to get through me first to get there. I do all of her scheduling and more or less, anything else that is needed. I compose all of the correspondence. I also I also do a lot of the work for as the data update coordinator for the Higher Learning Commission. And as far as supporting our board, anything Board of Trustees, I'm the board liaison, so that would be also come through me to even get to discuss anything with the board.
Sounds like a pretty elevated role here at the college, being the president's right hand and the right hand of the board. How do you manage all of that responsibility?
Some days with a lot of coffee. I think it's getting a lot easier the more I get settled into the role. And Kate is so cool about, she was learning, more or less, and helping me out with learning the role. And so there's a lot of new stuff. We just are transitioning into moving our board from a manual board into a new platform. So that's our latest and greatest update, and I'm looking forward to that.
That is exciting. Are there any challenges or any barriers that you're trying to overcome in this process?
Well, there's always barriers. It's just, we've got some trustees who have been here with us for 20 plus years, bless their heart, and maybe not so willing to take on technology, but are going to do it. And I think we'll embrace it. I think once it gets started. And multi-factor authentication for our emails. But in the name of security is, something. But we've got a great, Alec Effinger in IT has been kind of my right-hand go-to guy, and he's been really helpful with helping the board as far as their IT questions.
So for students, what is the Board of Trustees and what function do they have with the college?
The Board of Trustees is more or less like the overarching. They're the governing. They're the governing piece over the whole campus. They make the decisions of policy. They're the ones who are what I would say would be our president's bosses. And she answers to the board, and they're also the deciding factor on her contract and all things Kate Farrell, and other things that have to do with just our campus. So if there's something in the community that there's a decision that needs to be made, it goes to the board for a vote, and they're the ultimate decider as far as, and they will consult with, all of the college, obviously, but.
With the theme so far, we've talked to our previous guests, they've talked a lot about the leadership at the college and how those factors affect students and how the strategic planning is directed towards the students. And I think it's important maybe elaborate on how the Board of Trustees line of thinking is, or where are they looking in the future? Where are they planning? What is their role in the future of Nicolet College? To more refine the question, like, are they thinking tomorrow, or are they more focused on 5 years from now or 10 years from now?
10 years from now or more. I mean, how is the college going to sustain? How is it going to be here? It's going to exist. I mean, we want it to be here for the next, 50 years that it's been here. Yeah.
To say the board's purpose is the forward-thinking future, and that's how the board is looking at the college and the campus when they make their decisions.
Yes.
Let's move on to something a little less work-like. What is something fun or unexpected that's happened to you while you've been here at Nicolet? Has there been like a crazy animal pop out of the bushes on you on a stroll through the beautiful trails or anything like that?
Besides the bear that came and visited us in the back end of our offices. No, nothing to, periodically we've had it was the mama bear and the couple of cubs that came shooting by the offices the one afternoon. And my predecessor, she was able to get it on camera and came screaming in, and I was able to see the cubs running through. And I wasn't here the day that we got to see the very large one that was right next to our offices. But yeah, we've got a lot of wildlife hanging out here. That's for darn sure.
Has there been anything associated with your job that maybe you wouldn't have expected to be able to do? Like, I can't believe I'm getting paid for this type of moment?
Well, one of the things that right now that I wasn't expecting was going to be a part of what I'm doing, but I really enjoy it, is I get the board ready for commencement. So on Saturdays during commencement, I get all of their regalia, and I literally get them dressed and line them up, and I steam their regalia and make sure that they're all outfitted with coffee and donuts, and and enjoy between commencements. Now we have, I think there's 4 School of Commencement programs, and so there's a little bit of intermission between each one. Sure. And so we have some time to sit and chit chat. And
so was this last commencement in May? Was that your first one that you got to do this?
yes.
Okay. So it was a really exciting time, and everybody's graduating.
Yeah, and everybody looks forward to it. It's fun. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a favorite spot on campus? Is there any place that you like to go and hang out?
Well, my favorite is to walk the Richard Nelson trails.
Okay.
And I have kayaked on Lake Julia before. And so as far as hanging out, that's probably more of my favorite. And I'm just, walking the loop.
And what a treasure. I mean, who gets that at work?
I agree.
Or at school. I mean,
Yeah.
come to class and go take a spin on a kayak or stroll down a nice, beautiful trail.
I did bring, like I say, I brought my kayaks here to work, and after work, went out there and floated in the kayak for the evening. It was beautiful.
It does sound beautiful. I know the sunsets out there are amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Is there a task that you do regularly that people might not know would be a part of your job? So is there anything that you're doing that is going to affect students, but nobody's going to realize that your hands are on it?
I mean, a lot of it is behind the scenes that they wouldn't, not aware of it, especially in this role. It is a lot of calendaring. It is a lot of scheduling. Commencement is probably...
I understand you're part of the core team for the Higher Learning Commission. So we've talked about that in previous episodes, and I don't know. I can feel like that role that you played in that was crucial. I mean, for the college. So maybe you could talk a little bit about what that entailed for you and the role you played there.
I am the data update coordinator. They call me the Duck. And
What a nickname.
I know. And so what I did throughout that whole process is I was more or less, again, behind the scenes. Technology is my jam. And so I set up our SharePoint site for HLC. I coordinated setting up our meetings and like the graphics that we have on our SharePoint site. I set up the way we collected evidence from everyone on the campus. And that was a huge undertaking. I mean, we had, 800 and some odd pieces of evidence that we gathered. And then we had to, parse that out into criterion 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those teams. And we brought all of those together into a story. And those stories we had to bring together. And so it was a lot of behind the scenes work. But
And that's exactly what this is about. You have done a great deal for students on campus, and they would never realize it because you don't get the opportunity to work with them. And I think it's important to highlight that all the hard work that you've done is amazing, number one. And number two, I think it's really important for students to know that there's people behind the scenes that you're never going to meet on college campus, typically, unless you run into them in passing. And hopefully now they'll say hi.
sure.
Is there a piece of advice that you wish every student would take to heart?
And being that I'm not good with public speaking, or even when I took classes, I don't want to date myself, way back. But most of my classes were in person here. Went to a classroom and there was 20 people in our classroom, and I rarely ever spoke up, but ask questions. And, that would be my one piece of advice, because the question that you're not asking, because you think it may be a dumb question, is probably the question that 3 or 4 people are also hesitating to ask because they might think it's dumb. And so if you hesitate to ask, then it doesn't get asked, but don't hesitate.
I love that advice, Kris. That is fantastic advice. If you could wave a magic wand and give every student one skill, what would it be?
Think for yourself, and don't let yourself be fooled by what now we have for AI on the internet. My mom at home, bless her heart, will come to me with these things that get her so fired up. And I'm like, Mom, this is generated by AI. Just stop reading that. And I think there's going to be a lot of people as you come into it but think for yourself.
That's a great piece of advice too, because AI is really taking over right now. I mean, it's the buzzword, it's the hot topic. How can it incorporate into every aspect of our life?
Yeah.
Let's move on to a little bit of rapid fire. Coffee or tea, Kris?
Coffee. Tim Hortons, for sure.
Black?
No, if it's got it's an oat milk creamer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Early bird or a night owl?
Early.
And favorite campus snack or lunch spot?
Popcorn.
Popcorn?
Yes.
Keep it in your desk?
No, I actually brought in, it's a hot oil popper that spins around.
No kidding, huh?
And I received, it was various flavors. It was the nicest birthday gift. It's got the oil in it, and it's got several different kinds of flavors that I would never think to. It's like some are sweet and spicy, and some are really good.
What's your favorite flavor?
I like the one that's jalapeno and sweet.
Okay.
Really good. Yeah, but it makes enough that fills up the whole hot air popper.
Is it the oil that's flavored, or is it like a powder that you put on it?
No, it's already built in the pouch. All you got to do is put the popcorn in there and let her pop. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Which is better than setting off the smoke alarm upstairs like has been done before.
Well, I suppose those things do happen.
Yeah.
One word to describe your work style.
I would say my work style is, it's probably pretty chill, probably sometimes more chill than what it maybe, but I think that's good. And very tech savvy. If there's a smarter way to do something, I'm going to find it. I really like to know what the big picture is and what the end result is going to be. If somebody gives me a project, I want to know what the whole thing is going to be all about before they just say, well, your portion's going to be this. And I'd really like to know what the end result of the whole project is going to be.
Futuristic thinker.
Yes, that is that's one of my traits, one of my 5. Thank you.
Yes. If there's any one hobby or skill that you could wake up tomorrow and be the master of, what would it be?
Public speaking.
Yeah. So you can give speeches every day.
Well, so I wouldn't break out in hives, and I don't know if it's all red and blotchy or not, but
You're doing fine.
so yeah, this is not my comfort zone.
And you took a chance and you stepped outside the box for the student. I love it.
I did. Yes, I did.
Well, so we asked the guests to wear a special shirt to them, and Kris has picked out, looks like a golf shirt. Kris,
Yeah.
could you please elaborate on your shirt and tell us what the story and the meaning is to you?
Well, goes way back. My dad was the one who got me into golf, and my dad recently passed away in November.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. But so when my husband and I got married, and I waited till I was, here we go again, 42 to get married. When we got married, my dad had a custom set of golf clubs made for me. And when we walked in the house, there's this custom set of golf clubs there, and they had a big ribbon on them. And he said, well, happy nuptials, here's your present. And he looked at my husband, Steve, and he said, and you get her. And that was kind of the extent of it. But golf ever since it's been my go-to after work if I want to chill. It's go to the golf course. Yeah. And I have so far, I shot a hole-in-one on hole number 2 at Inshalla. Yeah. And Andy Hine, who is now a new employee here, he was there. He worked there.
So there's witnesses.
Well, he didn't see it, but he heard about it because the only ones that heard about it, I was golfing by myself, and the beverage cart girl saw it, and the 2 people in front of me saw it. So that was about the extent of it.
That's awesome.
I know. And I shot an eagle on hole number 9, which is as good as a hole-in-one, especially on a par 4. So.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. But I'm not a good golfer at all. Yeah.
So it was just luck? You don't golf like that regularly?
No.
Oh.
Rarely do I keep score.
Well, at least if you're going to get lucky, that's a good way to do it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, Kris, I wanted to say thank you so much for joining us today. It was an absolute pleasure to sit down and talk to you, get to know you and your position here at the college. Before we go, the last thing that we need is to find out who our next guest will be. So if you would please draw the next guest out. All right, who do we got?
Jeremy Van Camp.
Jeremy Van Camp, the Human Resource Director. Excellent. Thank you very much, Kris.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.